Ah, yeah. Hey, Amaru. Only if you're ready. Let's go. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love that do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Me no care about all the noise, but I'm digging your station. See how you got my head spinning with a body rotation. Couple of days went by, now I'm losing my patience. Go ahead, drop a pin, girl, wanna know your location. What's your location? Had to pull a plug on your ex, now you coming my way out. I can switch it up for you, girl, I'm no longer a player. See that pretty face on my screen, that'll make my day. Bea. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love that do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Yeah. Do you know she royalty? Do you know she royalty? I be that one that I get her heart racing. I didn't feel like with her we can take over nations, yeah. We can take a trip whenever, girl, you need a vacation. Number one bad girl, killing everything like on a mission. Girl on a mission. Had to pull a plug on your ex, now you coming my way out. I can switch it up for you, girl, I'm no longer a player. See that pretty face on my screen, that'll make my day. Bea. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love that do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Yeah.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, before we get into it, I'm going to need you all to let me know how I sound. Okay, I think I sound, based on the echo, I think I sound okay. I'm just asking because I actually dropped my I was cleaning my room and I dropped the headphones in the bucket of water. And it's like still dripping in some places. I put it in rice and everything. So just let me know how it sounds. I think it sounds okay. Okay, you can all hear me okay. Okay, that means that the water didn't destroy the headphones. Good. Thank you very much. Crisis averted. Thank you, everyone, for joining me a little bit earlier today. And yeah, a lot happening. Some interesting, expected though reactions from the British tabloids and the morning talk shows. They really just cannot handle. I think they did not expect Harry to come out just, I mean, I was gonna say guns are blazing, but guns are blazing would somehow suggest that Harry is panicking. This is more the quiet, confident soldier who knows that he has everything he needs in his arsenal to win the battles and the war. I think that's how I would describe it. I think the press is more guns blazing. They don't know what they're doing, what direction to go in. They're just throwing everything at the wall and hoping that people will be distracted and not dig a little deeper. And unfortunately, there are some people who are still just buying only what the tabloids are saying. But I think a great number of people are starting to wake up. And one of the things that's tripping the tabloids over is the involvement of Doreen Lawrence in this case, the mother of the black murdered schoolboy who was murdered in a racial attack. Because whatever you think about Prince Harry, are you going to tell me that that mother should not get justice for her son? And all of this time, we've been told that Harry was going to get booed, Meghan was going to get booed, they were going to be ravaged. Not one single egg was thrown. We're on day 2 of this court case now. Not a single egg thrown, not a single boo. This is why I keep saying anytime you hear Harry and Meghan getting booed in crowds, it's 100% a plant. And there's always just that one or two. Have you noticed that? It's never the majority of the crowd. There's just that one who is planted there. Now, because this is day 2 and Harry was expected, they've actually cordoned off the area, which I was very happy to see. The photographers were a little bit too close yesterday, but there was the element of surprise. And he actually showed up in a black cap yesterday, not in a Jeep. So they're being very, very smart. I wouldn't even be surprised. We still don't know where he is, or at least I haven't looked into it. I don't really want to know where he is, but I wouldn't be surprised if Harry was staying at multiple places while he's in London. And not only was Harry not met with booze and eggs, he was actually met with the most quintessential, hello, good morning, sir, most Britishly quintessential greeting as he deserves from his people. A great number of Britons still love their prince. It's the institution they mostly loathe. Have a look at this. Yes, an absolutely fabulous morning, sir. Not a single egg thrown. Right. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, peeps, if you haven't already. And let's get to it. Yes, sir, your Royal Highness, sir. Not your royal eggs being thrown, sir. Scrambled, not fried, sir. Diana's son is really sticking it to them. And some very interesting things coming out of the courts today. There was a statement that was written by Harry that was read out. But let's get on to a couple other things first. Over at Archwell, we are continuing with the good work, and this was posted. So this is in regards to some conservation work that Harry is doing with I think this is in Botswana, an in-depth look into the fight to save the Okavango Delta. So this is a river in Botswana, and they are threatening to do oil drilling. So let me I'm not going to read out the article in full, but I will just post the article from the Archwell website, and they also then have the link to I think it's the Rolling Stone article where the main conservationist working on this talks about it in full. So a major investigative report by Rolling Stone magazine has exposed how oil drilling is threatening one of the most pristine and important areas of Africa, first raised in a campaign led by the Duke of Sussex. In October 2021, Prince Harry and the conservation charity Rewild joined local activists and campaigners from Namibia and Botswana in calling for the drilling to stop, highlighting the dangers of drilling in the Okavango River Delta. Lovely, and link is posted in the chat, so you can go have a read of that in your own time. Fabulous work from Archwell. In what the hell is going on in my country news, yesterday I touched upon this new laws project, I don't know whatever you want to call it, that they're bringing in, where they want to crack down on begging and antisocial behavior measures. And it's just interesting that the Tory approach to this is always to punish more than rehabilitate, to punish more than give resources. There are underlying social and economic issues that lead to crime. When you give people opportunities, when you give people a reason to feel like they're worth something, guess what? They commit less crimes and they're less antisocial. But no, we're not going to invest in education. We're not going to invest in opportunities. We're not going to invest in business. In fact, for the last 20 years, we've done the complete opposite. We have done almost everything to destroy opportunity, other than for the most wealthy. And now they're bringing in measures to crack down on the increase in begging and antisocial behavior that you caused. And as James Wong said on his Twitter post, cracking down on beggars after writing off billions in fraud. He's referring to the PPP fraud during the pandemic. It is so important to not simply dismiss those people with different political views to you as just bad people, but at this stage, it's hard for it not to be an inescapable conclusion. Exactly. There's also another controversy raging about Rishi Sunak because years prior to the pandemic, I think going back as far as 2016, he invested in a shadow shell company in one of the British tax havens, and that shell company was linked to Moderna, who made one of the Mr. C vaccines. So there's still people are still trying to figure out how much has he profited from that stake in that shell company, not to mention the hundreds of millions, from his wife and other investments. How much is he profiting, and how much is he paying in tax? And then in regards to the COVID fraud, how much did MPs and politicians giving each other contracts, how much did they make? And why is it that no one really is being held accountable for that. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's just typical Tory government corruption. Also, this came up. Brian Cox insists he has sympathy for Meghan Markle after previous comments were taken out of context. The Succession star says he believes the Duchess is a victim of the royal institution. Speaking about the recent headlines, Brian said, "I'm a bit angry about that because the whole thing has been taken out of context." Well, I think at this point, you got to know when you're talking to the British press, or if you say anything about Meghan, that it is going to be taken out of context. So you better choose your words very carefully. And I do think, I'm not blaming him for the fact that his words were taken out of context. I'm not doing that at all. But I still think he probably could have spoken up a bit sooner, because I think he made those comments, it was some weeks ago, wasn't it? But unfortunately, this is just what the press do. You could say the nicest thing about Meghan and they'll turn it into so-and-so said Meghan killed puppies. Now, on to Harry and the court case. These are the headlines this morning. So we've got the Telegraph, the Independent, the Guardian, and the Daily Mail. And it's interesting to really analyze all of these covers. So you've got the Telegraph that has Harry on the front, but the actual story heading is teeny. So I think a lot of people might pick it up and look at it because it has Harry on the cover, and that's what sells. But the actual story is tiny. And they've just put like 2 lines. I think it says the Duke of Sussex yesterday made a surprise appearance at the High Court. And then the actual story is buried inside. And then you've got the Independent, who went with paranoid Harry lost friends over unlawful stories. Use of the word paranoid. Well, yeah, you would be paranoid if you didn't know who was leaking against you and you thought it was your friends, but it was actually the tabloids. And again, that word paranoid, the word that William used against his mother when talking about the Martin Bashir interview. And the Independent, don't forget, very close friends with Camilla. Gordy Gregg appointed editor-in-chief of the Independent. He was also a former Daily Mail editor and close friend of Camilla. The Independent crowned Camilla most influential woman in the year. Influential for what? And then the Guardian, usually the more sensible one, went with a story from Doreen Lawrence. I was betrayed by the Daily Mail. I think I'm going to do an actual whole podcast on the Stephen Lawrence case and the part the Daily Mail played in it. And then the cover of the Daily Mail. No Harry in sight, of course. Don't tell me there isn't a blackout when it comes to them. And in fact, this is what the Daily Mail website looked like yesterday. Not a single mention. But most of the other mainstream media outlets, even The Sun, despite the way that they're obviously going to try and twist it, still covered it. Even Sky covered it quite a lot, actually. Lots of breaking news coming from Sky yesterday and today. So yeah, that is how how it's been covered in print. Now, how it's been covered on the morning talk shows. Spin, and more spin. But actually, let me get to your comments before we get on to that. Welcome to the chat, everyone, if you're just joining. Certainly, this is exactly what the French aristocracy did right before the French Revolution. Yeah, well, I mean, they're between the royals and the government, they're really playing with fire. Really playing with fire. Raffaele, you said they are destroying the country and its economy and the monarchy with their stupid laws. I mean, I feel like the monarchy is just destroying itself. but it's leading to politics like they do in India. Well, to be honest, I don't know a lot about Indian politics, so I can't really make the comparison. Are you from India yourself? Would you like to elaborate on that? But yeah, nonetheless, doing a lot of damage. Yes, live to love. The same word they use for Princess Diana. They're playing from the same rulebook. It's wild. Right, on to the next thing. Yeah, the morning talk shows. I mean, they have been throwing everything at the wall. Angela Latrine talking about Meghan wearing a tiara when the only time Meghan ever wore a tiara was at her wedding. And then also this from GB. I'm actually going to play this clip, the audio from GB News, and we're going to break it down because I think it really speaks. However, before I go into that, I just want to say something about yesterday's podcast. I wish I'd actually said this at the beginning, but now that there's more of you in the chat, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm, this isn't to have a go at anyone. So please, I don't want the caller from yesterday to, if they're listening now, to feel like I'm having a go at them. I'm not. I just want to say this so we don't have this issue again going forward. The tabloids are going to focus on things like, where Harry was and where he was flying into and all of those details and all of those distraction things. And I want us to just not focus on that too much. Things like Harry's flight details and drugs tests and things like that. It's just not a conversation that I want to have going forward in the future because it's just not necessary. Like that's what the tabloids want to focus on, and we want to focus on the hard stuff. We want to focus on this, right? These people and the way that they're destroying the country. Jonathan Rothermere spread his name and face everywhere. And so I just want to say for future call-ins, let's be careful not to kind of go down the path of the tabloids in talking about stuff like that, please. But let's have a listen to how the tabloids have been trying to spin this whole narrative this morning. Because this is like, I think sometimes we forget that we are kind of in our own bubble, but the tabloid readers are also in their own bubble. And it's interesting to just hear what they're hearing. So let's have a look at GB fake news.
In relation to 2021, but
they could sue them and whatever. So none of this is current.
Well, I think some of it was in relation to 2021, but I might have got that wrong.
No, I think it was earlier than that. But I mean, I think there was a lot of the Sun and the Mirror in particular had a lot of cases taken against them, and the Mail by and large escaped that. And I wonder whether, in fact, Harry and Meghan declared war on the Mail, whether that's driving this, and they pulled in other people with them.
Am I right in thinking that Harry's back in court on a separate case on the 9th of May, the week after the coronation? So essentially, these two cases are sandwiching.
I'm not quite sure about that, but there are certainly other cases he's pursuing. Which,
I'd quite like to see the evidence. I wonder what evidence there is.
Perhaps we'll do. Who knows? I mean,
well, we can't get the evidence now. Do you know why? Because the Daily Mail is invoking the Human Rights Act. The British press are arguing for privacy on a case in which they illegally invaded the privacy of others. And she's sitting there saying, we'd like to see the evidence. Yeah, I'd like to see the evidence too. I'd like to know who those journalist phone hackers were and their names and faces. The next part.
My suspicious mind also wants to know who's paying for his flight.
Who do you think? They are paying for it. He's saying that knowing full well that Harry paid for his flight. Who else was going to pay for his flight?
because I think it might be the taxpayer, and also where he's, yes, indeed, I think he was undertaking semi-royal duties. He can still claim the fare from the taxpayer.
Semi-royal duties. There's no such thing as semi-royal duties. They step back as senior working royals. And then he insinuates that it's the taxpayer that are paying for it. No, we're not paying for Harry's flights. You know what we are paying for? We're paying for Andrew's security. We're paying for that. We're paying for 4 homes for the Cambridges.
And also, where's he staying? Is he at Frogmore Cottage or is he somewhere else?
Well, I'll tell you what, he definitely had security yesterday.
Yes, who's paying for that?
See that around him.
Security, but I didn't see armed guards. And that's what Harry wanted to pay for, and that's what he was denied of.
And very interesting to know who's paying for that.
He got pushed around a bit as well. No, he was too busy smiling at somebody in the crowd and walked straight into a photographer.
Yes, that's right.
I wondered if it was Ellie Costello.
And he brushed him out.
And there you have it. I mean, what's interesting to me is just how they can just bold-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. And then you had also Tessa Dunlop. Now, Tessa, she tried to kind of pass herself off as this impartial, on the fence, not pro Harry and Meghan, but has a go at Piers Morgan every now and again kind of character. And I said from the beginning, I don't trust this woman. I think she's 100% establishment. And, well, listen to her on Sky News today. And so she was talking to Kay Burley here.
When we last saw News UK and the Mirror are concerned, what's he doing with that?
Well, the Mirror is the crunch one, really, of course, coming straight after the coronation, when Harry will be called, I think, to give evidence. And this is one of the first times I think we've seen a royal in court. I was trying to work out when we last saw a senior member of the royal family. I think it was Princess Anne, when her dog bit somebody in Great Windsor Park and she was fined. It was a magistrate's court, it was a minor affair in relation to this. But of course, the timing of yesterday, let's just go back to what's happening as we're building up to the coronation, the House of Montecito versus the House of Windsor. A lot of people have said, oh, is Charles going to find time for his son? Fascinating, had that French trip not been cancelled, where would the headlines have sat? With Charles alongside Macron in Paris, or in fact, with Harry?
With
it
Harry,
has, of course.
Now, did you hear how immediately Kay Burley's like, with Harry, obviously. Obviously, the headlines would have sat with Harry. And it's like, every so often, they just have like this moment of truth where they admit they know where the interest is when it comes to the royals. I mean, Kate Burley, she was literally like laughing and smiling as she said that and shaking her head and throwing her arms up. Even Tessa was laughing. Yeah, with Harry, the interest would be with Harry. Nobody would have cared about that trip. And even at the courthouse yesterday, by the end of the day, when they were wrapping up, the whole of the outside was full of reporters waiting for Harry. There were more reporters outside of that courthouse waiting for Harry to come out. More people waiting. The crowd looked almost bigger than some of the recent engagements we've seen from the other royals. Boy, right, to your comments before we get on to the next thing. We're going to get on to what Harry actually said in his statement regarding phone hacking and the royals, because it's quite bombshell, as the tabloids would say. Right, let's go for your comments first. Hi everyone, if you're just joining us, thank you very much. I'm just posting the article from Archwell again in the comment section. That's an updated article looking at the work that they're doing in Africa with conservation. So if you're just joining us, make sure that you go and read that. Please support what Archwell are doing. Yeah, why are they so focused on the tiara? One, actually focus on the most important thing here, and that is that this is a phone hacking trial. Because dare they do that, and the peasants start waking up. And, I find it so interesting that I didn't actually know this, but Harry was photographed with civilians in Miami before he flew into London, and the civilians didn't say anything. So you have normal, everyday people who are more trustworthy and understand how to play game better than Harry's own family in the tabloids. Kay Burley said herself yesterday they had no idea that Harry was coming. So those civilians kept their mouths shut. Imagine. I think a lot of normal people who are just observing, I think they 100% understand what's going on. And I think most of the mental hold from the UK tabloids is just like it's mostly just powerful in the UK. Yeah, Compton, what do they mean who's paying for it? Definitely not the taxpayer. Lightside, busy smiling at someone in the crowd. I mean, they want him to be miserable. And they just can't believe how confident and ballsy he is being. Yeah, Black Queen. How's the Montecito? Yeah, the House of Montecito is about to win the battle for sure. Even though it never actually had to be a battle. And I don't think Harry wants it to be a battle. I think he wants peace with his family, but they've sided with the tabloids who want a battle. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Audrey. Much appreciated. Yeah, Leslie, Meghan is a princess. She has every right to a tiara. But if you ask me, her aura is a crown. Doesn't actually need anything on her head. Yeah, Ladybird, they're definitely projecting, aren't they? Like, to them, the tiara is important. To them, the balcony is important. The procession is important. Where people are standing in the procession is important. The titles are important. How people curtsy is important. To you only, my friends. Nobody else that lives, in the real world. Yeah, but only Harry's friends are billionaires. I mean, Harry and Meghan themselves, their fortune must be in the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions at this point. Like, if you have a good investor and you make smart stock picks, it's not difficult to turn 10 million into 20 million into 30 million. If you make some good bets. Right. On to what was actually said in the court today. So Harry said that without a doubt, the royal family withheld information from him on phone hacking. So I'm going to get the full article so we can get the full statement. Right. Prince Harry said the royal family withheld information from him about phone hacking because they didn't want him to bring a claim as it would open a can of worms. In a witness statement submitted before his civil claim against the Daily Mail publisher Associated Newspapers, the Duke of Sussex said that he was conditioned to accept his family's rule to never complain, never explain when dealing with the press. But discussing phone hacking claims against newspapers, Harry said, I became aware that I had a claim that I could bring in 2018. The institution was without a doubt withholding information from me for a long time about NGN's phone hacking, and that has only become clear in recent years as I have pursued my own claim with different legal advice and representation. There is no way that Harry would have been able to take this all the way to the end if he was still in that institution. No way. They would have done everything possible to stop him. And the press attacks would have amped up. The prince is among a group of claimants, including Sir Elton John, Liz Hurley, and Sadie Frost, against Associated Newspapers, accusing them of numerous breaches of privacy. The publisher denies all of the allegations. Speaking about how he found out other people within or associated with the royal family, had brought phone hacking claims against the press, he says, "It is not an extravagation to say that the bubble burst in terms of what I knew in 2020 when I moved out of the United Kingdom." Wow. So it's really only when he left a lot more started to come out. He went on, "There was never any centralized discussion between us about who had brought claims, as each office in the institution is their own. There is this misconception that we are all in constant communication with one another, but that is not true." So whether it's between family members on family matters, or whether it's business matters, and business and family intertwines in the most awkward way in the royal family, communication is just terrible. Like, for the most part, you just get the impression that the officers do what's best for them while briefing against each other. The prince added, "The institution made it clear that we do not need to know anything about phone hacking, and it was made clear to me that the royal family did not sit in the witness box because that could open up a can of worms." He went on to say the royal family's strict no comment policy meant that even the worst or most suspicious articles were often never brought to my attention. Ending his written statement to the court, Prince Harry said he was bringing this claim because I love my country and I remain deeply concerned by the unchecked power, influence, and criminality of the publisher. The British public deserves to know the full extent of this cover-up, and I feel it is my duty to expose it. Buckingham Palace declined to comment on Prince Harry's remarks. I mean, Harry's going there. He's really going there. And so confidently and with a smile. And the fact that he is so confident tells me that there is something in the claims being brought forward that is like, it's going to be like throwing a grenade. I mean, I think on the surface level, everything that we know, the hacking, the wiretapping, the putting trackers on people's, like, all of that is terrible. But I really feel like there's something even deeper. Something that they are so sure that they're going to win this case. And that's the reason why they haven't just taken a payout. And it's the reason why the press is panicking. And it's the reason why they're using threatening language and throwing everything they can against the wall. And for them to tell Harry, you're opening up a can of worms, well, the same press that Harry is suing is the same press, let's not forget, that his family have sided with. There is Camilla and Rothermere. This picture was taken weeks after Meghan won her case against the Daily Mail. They are saying loud and clear, it is us against you and your family. And this is what Harry and Meghan are up against. Because I also wonder if the press are also threatening other members of the royal family, because I'm sure that they've got things over their heads that they want hidden. And are the press threatening them and saying, you better get Harry to shut up, or we're going to do this, say that? Oh, by the way, Eamon Holmes, just to end on a lighter note, here's Eamon Holmes. He's recovering, y'all. Remember when he said that Harry should be thrown over the balcony? And then weeks later, he had an incident with his back? All is well. Here he is in recovery. He's also friends with Katie Nicholl, one of the alleged phone hackers. This is from Byline Investigates, I believe. Prince Harry's personal mobile phone communications were detailed in stories by top royal correspondent Katie Nicholl. Katie Nicholl, to me, is just a better dressed, actually good-looking version of Angela Latrine. She just gets away with it because she's actually good-looking. But they're both exactly the same. The article goes on to say friendships with Natalie Pinkman, Chelsea Davy, and Natalie Imbruglia came under the spotlight. Katie Nichols' articles were laden with references to private phone calls and text messages. Both Katie Nicholl and the Mail on Sunday deny knowingly using illegally obtained data, but their stories contain the same phrases tabloid rivals used to disguise illegal acts, including phone hacking, according to Britain's leading privacy judge. And that's probably why Katie Nicholl got the position that she got, because that's how she was getting her stories. Out of all of the Royal Rodent reporters, she's had one of the most impressive rises to the top of all of them. And with that, I think I am done. I'll go to your comments and then we will call it a day. Thank you for coming, everyone. And yeah, listen, he's confident, he's smiling. And I think we should remain confident and just smile along with him. Yes, hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe. Thank you. Turn on notifications. You know when I'm coming on. Sometimes I do change times. Like today, I was meant to come on a lot later. Thank you, Nash, for the coffees. But yeah, I just decided to come on a little bit earlier because I got ready a lot faster than I thought that I would. Jacob Walter, Meghan should wear an African outfit to the coronation. A whole kente print gown. No, I think she can wear something that's very typically royal looking, but maybe by a Nigerian designer. I think that would be a nice happy medium. No worries, Cynthia. Thank you all so much for coming. Andrea, you said, yes, and they want him to be miserable. And if he isn't, then make it up, which is what they did on one of those talk shows of the panelists. She pitted him. Yeah. GB News, they did another segment this morning. And it's crazy. If you actually go to the comment section, what people are saying in the comment section. I really don't care what you think of Harry. What the Daily Mail were doing to people, what they have done to Britain, what these tabloid, not just the Daily Mail, the Sun, all of them, the Mirror, what they have done affects everyone. And it's not just celebrities. And so it's incredible to me that people are so wrapped up in their feelings about Harry and Meghan that they don't see the bigger picture here. They don't see why this isn't just about celebrities. It's about women like Doreen Lawrence and her son. It's about the victims of the 7/7 bombings, harassed. Go back a couple of podcasts if you haven't listened, where I detail what the British tabloid press, what the Sun did to a woman who had a burnt face, was laying in a hospital bed with a burnt face. And they were trying to get into the hospital. To get what? A quote? A picture? A story from a woman with a burnt face? If you think that this is just about Harry and Meghan, who have every right to defend themselves, mind you, check yourself, please. This is about a toxic tabloid culture that we have in the United Kingdom, where people like this are running amok. Why do these people get to make so many decisions about what goes on in our country? They are not elected officials. Boy. It's going to be interesting now that Harry has come for these court hearings, and I believe that he is going to be here for all 4 days. What's going to happen around the time of the coronation? Yes, light side. We need to expose them all, indeed. And unfortunately, in all of this, Could that mean that some of his own family members get exposed? Maybe. I think that's one of the reasons why they are being so quiet. They don't want to criticize the tabloids because they've got secrets to hide. Rufy said there is no crown that can make. Oh God. Oh, you lot. I mean, I agree with you, but I'm not going to read out the comment. Ladybird even threw himself over the balcony. No, he was walking down the stairs and then Diana's ghost tripped him over. Oh my God. All right, who's going to get the last word of the day? Linda. Yeah, I sound better because I am a little bit better. Even though about 2 hours ago I was sneezing like crazy. But it's gone down. I'm not just taking the cold medicine pills, like I'm going heavy on the vitamin C and the quercetin and the vitamin D. So I think I'm recovering a lot faster. Yes, Diana's son is the absolute boss. Boss. Letting everyone know. The more you F around, the more you're gonna find out. Antoinette, you said, how I love what Harry's doing. Let the British press have it. The serpents, let that monarchy die. Well, Harry is still a monarchist. he still very much believes in monarchy, but unfortunately, the monarchy is his family. And his family are in a chokehold by the press. Rakim, you said, I have honestly been avoiding all things royal other than catching up with you and Baron because looking at Camilla infuriates me to no end. You sound like my mum. My mum's like, every time I see Camilla, I feel ill. I was like, really? Wow. I mean, she irritates me too, but feeling ill? Like, you feel that strongly? Oh, coronation's going to be a hoot. All right, Nina, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Harry looks well and fresh indeed. Fight for your mum. He is absolutely doing that. He's fighting for his mum and the whole of Britain. And I think in decades to come, people will very much appreciate this and look back at this and go, we should have done a lot more to support this case. Right, you all have a fabulous rest of the day. Make sure you go catch up with Petal and Baron and whoever else is on today. And yeah, stay blessed. Like I always say, it's all going to be good, folks. It's all going to be good. Look at how confident Harry is looking. We should remain confident too. Ciao.
Yeah. Hey, Amaru. Only if you're ready. Let's go. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love that do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Me no care about all the noise, but I'm digging your station. See how you got my head spinning with a body rotation. Couple days went by, now I'm losing my patience. Go ahead, drop a pin, girl, wanna know your location. What's your location? Had to pull a plug on your ex, now you coming my way out. I can switch it up for you, girl, I'm no longer a player. See that pretty face on my screen, that'll make my day out. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love they do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Yeah. I did feel like with her we can take over nations, yeah. We can take a trip whenever, girl, you need a vacation. Number one bad girl, killing everything like on a mission. Girl on a mission. Had to pull a plug on your ex, now you coming my way out. I can switch it up for you, girl, I'm no longer a player. See that pretty face on my screen, that'll make my day out. Bea. I'm only looking for loyalty, all I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love they do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Yeah. Do you know she royalty? Do you know she royalty? Yeah. Do you know she royalty?
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.